everybody. It's Laura here talking to you today for Legal Talk Tuesdays about estate planning. And I'd like to start off by saying, we're all procrastinators. And I say that with wet hair because I have had some fatigue lately, some pretty serious fatigue. And so it took me a little while to want to get in the shower this morning. So we are just inherently, I think a lot of us are procrastinators about things that we need to do. I use air quotes because I don't like the word need, but it's estate planning, kind of comes in two facets. And it's something that we either don't want to talk about right now, we're scared to talk about it because, nobody likes to talk about death necessarily, or we just don't think that it's applicable to us right now for whatever reason. And so we tend to procrastinate and leave things until it's too late. And I want to talk about estate planning in two different ways today. So first is what we all kind of think of as end of life planning. And that's where your will comes into play, your last will and testament, your trust documents, whatever those, depending on what your estate is, if you need to have a trust versus a will or both, because if you could have a trust, you're going to have a will, but not necessarily the reverse. And when it comes to end of life planning, that's about your stuff and about what you want to go to, who you want it to go to, whether that's houses, cars, jewelry, whatever it might be. And it's always a good idea to have that in place, and you can change it throughout your life. So if you have, a new child that you want to add, you can have catch-alls and things like that. But if you have falling out with a sibling or whatever it might be, you can always change these things throughout your life. But it's a good idea to have kind of a base in place as soon as possible when it comes to estate planning for end of life purposes, just because that cuts down on any kind of fighting on the back end from your family members, confusion on what you wanted to have done with your things, whatever it might be. It's just a great idea to have. Another thing that is kind of in the end of life category, but also in the other one, which is during your life estate planning, is your living will. And we've talked about that a lot here. And I think that's one of the most important documents that you can have. A living will or a healthcare directive, because that is basically telling people what your wishes are if you are terminally ill or you are permanently unconscious. And permanently unconscious, I mean permanently, like you're not going to wake up from a coma or whatever it might be. Do you want your body kept alive? Do you want extraordinary measures to be taken to keep you alive if you're not going to wake up? That kind of thing. It's important to have. And to me, again, like I said, it's the most important document for you to have in your kind of arsenal of estate planning. And the other two documents that we have here in Arkansas for during life planning, and those are your powers of attorney. Powers of attorney for healthcare decisions and for your financial, kind of information, your money, basically. And that is if you are unable to express your wishes or do things on your own, whether that's because you're out of the country, possibly, or you are in a car accident and are in the hospital for a period of time, or you're incapacitated for whatever reason, or you become elderly, possibly you have dementia at some point, but you need someone to be able to make decisions about where you're going to live, and whether that's in a nursing facility or at a family member's house, whatever it might be. Those healthcare decisions need to be made by somebody that you trust and who knows your wishes. And that's a document that's important to have because it's going to be necessary in most cases for that person to be able to make those decisions for you on, again, where you're going to live and what kind of treatment you are going to have if you're unable to express your wishes for yourself. But also the financial side of things is you don't want your house payment to not be paid, and you don't want your credit cards to not be paid, and those types of things. You want someone that you trust, again, to be able to have access to your financial documents, and it's important to have that in place, again, for the un um, enviable unenviable position, or the position that none of us really want to be in, but a lot of us end up in that position at some point where we need someone to be able to take care of our bills and our property and our whatever it might be, while you're unable to take care of those for yourself. So I've talked about 4 different documents: your last will and testament, and or your trust and will combination. That is your end of life planning. Your living will, which is your what do you want to be done to keep your body alive, basically, if you're permanently unconscious or terminally ill in a situation where you're unconscious. And then the powers of attorney for healthcare and for your financials. And these are all very important documents. And kind of like I said at the beginning, procrastination is something that many of us do. I'm not going to say we all do it, because I'm not going to lump us all in as the same, but many of us do that. We put things off for tomorrow. It's kind of like the Scarlett O'Hara philosophy of, I won't think about it now, I'll think about it tomorrow. But tomorrow, then tomorrow, then tomorrow. And you really need to have these things in place. And we have been running a promotion this month for the month of May of 2021 that we normally charge a $20 consultation fee to talk to people about their questions and see if we're a good fit for them as a law firm, or be able to give them referrals out to someone else if we're not a good fit for them as a law firm. We have no skin in the game necessarily. We just want to help people. And if we're a good fit, great. If we're not, then we want to make sure that you get some options for people who would be a better fit for you. And for the month of May, we are offering free consultations. So we've waived the consultation fee for the month of May. And we encourage you to sign up on my calendar. I'm the person that you would talk to here in Arkansas, and sign up on our calendar and have a conversation. Just ask some questions. It's one of those things that you don't have to pay the $20 right now, so you might as well get some questions answered and have the conversation that you've maybe been putting off for a while. And if you have family members who are in a situation where they've mentioned that they want to talk about estate planning, either because they have children or they've been diagnosed with an illness or something like that, then please share the link with them too. It's personal for me in a lot of ways, because I am a person who does not have children, but I want to make sure that my money and my house and things like that go where I want them to go. And I also, because I don't have children, I don't have a spouse, it's very important for me to have those powers of attorney in place, because I don't have that person who automatically might be the one to make my decisions for me. And so those documents are extremely important for people like me. And I know there are those of you out there like me, but also if you do have kids and you have more than one kid, it's so necessary to have these documents in place, because I've seen this example in my own life with my family and my friends, where siblings can get kind of nasty with each other after someone passes away, or after a parent passes away, or after there's a catastrophic event or something like that, where they need to make decisions, but there's no document in place for the person who's going to make those decisions. And there's infighting about what is best for the parent, what the parent really wanted. When it's all written down, there's no question about it. So it's just a very important thing to think about, and not do the Scarlett O'Hara, or what I kind of like to call the ostrich syndrome, where you bury your head in the ground and just expect it to go away, or it to all be fine once you take your head out of the ground. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us today. Just a few things about why estate planning is important. And we are offering free consultations for the rest of the month of May 2021. And we appreciate your time and thank you for listening. And we'll be here back here next week. Brooke will be back with you talking about something fabulous, I'm sure, on Tuesday at 11:30 Central. That took me way too long to remember what time it was. And I hope you have a great rest of your week. Thanks so much.